Mr. Speaker, family violence continues to cause great damage and to destroy lives in our province. It is vital for the well-being of all Manitobans that interpersonal and family violence be addressed in a way that will lead to effective prevention and to substantial decreases in such devastating violence in our province. Will the NDP support the Manitoba Liberal Bill, the Prevention of Interpersonal and Family Violence Through Education Act, to ensure our school curriculum directly deals with family dynamics, the origins of interpersonal and family violence, and their prevention?
Mr. Speaker, we are already doing that. I was hoping the member would be aware that it starts with the PACS program in grade 1, which teaches interpersonal skills to young people, how to manage their emotions, how to interact with other people respectfully and resolve conflicts respectfully, regardless of their background or their gender or their orientation. That's the program that we're rolling out in the schools. It builds on top of two other programs called Roots to Empathy and Seeds of Empathy, where young people learn how to relate to a baby or an infant and how to read and understand their emotions and be able to respond to those in a constructive fashion. And I know personally of young moms that are taking their children to the school, and the students are interacting with the child and the mother and learning and understanding all of those important communication skills through the Roots of Empathy program. It also includes our anti-bullying legislation, Mr. Speaker. Anti-bullying legislation where many of the leaders on that legislation are the students themselves.
You're so afraid of it. You're so afraid of it.
Where many of the leaders are the students themselves, along with teachers, and it only bears underlining, Mr. Speaker, that the opposition voted against that legislation.
Mr. Speaker, the Premier's initiative is not directly addressing family violence, and the initiative that he brought forward yesterday will reach 100 schools in 3 years. It would take more than 25 years to reach all the schools in Manitoba. The initiative complements the bill we bring forward, but wouldn't replace it. Sadly, under this NDP government, family violence is so common in our province that we have per capita 1.5 times more family violence than the Canadian average. As this chart I table shows, we have one of the highest rates of family violence in all of Canada. After 16 years with such a horrific amount of family violence in our province, will the NDP government now support the Manitoba Liberals' useful and helpful initiative to ensure improved education in this area for all Manitoba children?
Mr. Speaker, again, I want to inform the member opposite that the PACS program, which starts in grade 1, is already in 200 schools, and 50 more have been added in 2015 and 2016. And that requires resources. The member opposite persistently and consistently votes against it.
He does.
He now claims to want to have the high ground on family violence.
Yeah.
If he wanted to prevent family violence along with us over the last 16 years, he would have voted for our budgets, which have those programs in it. He would have voted for early childhood development programs and the home visiting programs. He would have supported the Roots of Empathy programs. He would have supported the Seeds of Empathy programs. And he would have youth centers, other points. And yesterday we announced with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers the Breaking the Silence program, the second version of it. Not something that's new, but something that's been retooled and taken to a higher level. That has a strong public education component to it. It also has education right in the schools, Mr. Speaker. So we agree with the member. This is an important issue. I only ask that he votes his conscience and votes for the budget, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, the Premier has all sorts of piecemeal and mismatched programs, but they don't add up to a systematic approach to family violence, which is what we need. Family violence and addressing it is one of the most important issues we have today, and it is reasonable and responsible to include this measure fully in legislation. With studies which I tabled showing that the NDP policies to date have had little impact to reduce family violence in our province, will the NDP now decide responsibly to give strong support to the Manitoba Liberal Initiative to ensure that education to understand, prevent and reduce interpersonal and family violence is provided to students all over Manitoba?
Mr. Speaker, the PACS program and the other early childhood development programs that we have are also uniquely accompanied by very thorough and solid research, which is showing very good results. And the member knows that. So for him to pretend that nothing has been going on really isn't very helpful to addressing this issue. We've got it in over 200 schools. That's not piecemeal. We've added 50 schools. That's not piecemeal. The Lighthouse programs are not piecemeal. The home visiting programs for young families are not piecemeal, Mr. Speaker. None of those initiatives are piecemeal. The Breaking the Silence initiative is a very positive initiative, and I want to commend the Winnipeg Blue Bombers for supporting that ever since 2012 and being willing to put their time and effort into visiting schools as well as doing public education announcements to support that. Those role models make a big difference for young people, Mr. Speaker. We also work with the True North Foundation on mental health initiatives, and in this budget we've added another $2 million to deal with mental health initiatives. I visited a school, Mr. Speaker, a forum for mental health issues where kids from all over Winnipeg were working on mental health issues. I say to the member opposite, if he's serious about this issue, vote for the budget where we have the resources.